We all love Legends of the Fall. Brad Pitt and Julia Ormond caught in a love story too wild for one lifetime. It's tragic, it's breathtaking, and it turned heartbreak itself into legend. And let's be honest, we've all watched it 100 times wishing we could step into those Montana sunsets.
I'll wait for you forever.
But here's the twist. Behind the beauty and the chaos are secrets, near disasters, and unbelievable moments hiding in plain sight. Things even die-hard fans never knew. Stick around because we're counting down the top 10 weird facts in Legends of the Fall that will change how you see this classic forever.
Every warrior hopes a good death will find him.
Fact number 10, the bear where the legend begins. That opening hunt? The bear wasn't CGI. It was Bart the Bear, Hollywood's most legendary Kodiak, trained by Doug Seuss. This 1,500-pound icon also starred in The Bear, 1988, and The Edge, 1997. Bart wasn't just a trained animal, he was a scene partner. Raised from a cub, he could hit marks, take cues, and radiate real danger on command. Doug and Lynn Seuss worked with him every day for 2 decades, developing a vocabulary of hand signals and vocal tones that let Bart perform emotions, curiosity, warning, even sorrow. The camera loved him. Cinematographer John Toll later said that Bart moved with more intention than most actors. Every step had weight. Every breath felt ancient. But Bart wasn't just in this movie for realism. He was chosen for a reason that ties directly to Tristan's fate. It all leads back to that one final moment, the one waiting for you when we finally reach number 1. Fact number 9, the dawn that changed everything. When Susanna steps off that train, the world seems to hold its breath, and Tristan's arrival feels less like a man returning home and more like a prophecy being fulfilled. Director Edward Zwick and cinematographer John Toll shot during Magic Hour, that fragile window when dawnlight turns to gold. They waited hours for fog to mingle with the sun, layering practical smoke to make the air shimmer. Julia Ormond recalled that you could smell the frost melting. It's no coincidence the scene happens at sunrise. Zwick designed it as a symbolic rebirth, light meeting shadow, innocence meeting danger. From this point forward, Susanna is drawn toward both love and ruin. But that same Montana light that makes their love feel eternal, later turns cruel. You'll see how the land itself betrays them when we reach number 3. This is the spell that makes us believe in their love, even when we sense it's already doomed. Fact number 8, the war that froze their souls. The trenches of World War I were recreated near Morley, Alberta, using members of the Canadian Forces as extras. Temperatures plunged below -20 degrees Fahrenheit. The frost on Henry Thomas's eyelashes? Real. Production designer Lily Killian built nearly 200 yards of interconnected trenches lined with duckboards and sandbags. Military historians advised on everything from uniform stitching to gas mask straps. When snow began to fall, Zwick refused to stop. He said, "History didn't wait for better weather, and neither should we." The physical misery seeps into the film. You can see the brothers' closeness eroding under exhaustion and fear. What happens here doesn't stay on the battlefield. It ignites the film's most haunting ritual. You'll see it take form when we reach number 6.
Samuel! Samuel! Samuel!
Fact number 7, the scene that broke every heart. Samuel's death is the heartbeat that shatters the film, but filming it nearly broke the cast too. To capture the chaos of the trenches, Edward Zwick refused to use stunt doubles for most of the running sequences. Brad Pitt and Henry Thomas spent days sprinting through mud and smoke while small explosive squibs detonated inches away. Thomas later said he couldn't hear for hours after one close blast. When Pitt reached him in the final take, the one used in the film, Thomas had actually inhaled smoke from a misfired gas charge, so his gasping was real. Zwick called cut, but Pitt kept acting, holding him and crying long after cameras stopped. The crew was silent. That raw emotion didn't stay on set. It carried into later scenes, and would explode for real between the brothers at number 4. That frozen battlefield we just saw? It didn't just forge a soldier, it created a ghost. Fact number 6, the heart that refused to die. Pitt insisted on filming the scene in near total silence. No music, no dialogue, just wind and breath. He wanted it to feel ritualistic, almost sacred. Director Edward Zwick agreed, saying later, "It's the moment Tristan stops being a man of society and becomes a creature of instinct." That silence turns the act into something primal, a communion between grief and nature. There's no priest, no witness, just a man and the wilderness, performing an ancient ritual of love and loss. The prop heart, built from gelatin and lamb tissue, was kept refrigerated between takes so Pitt's visible shudder would be real. He wasn't recoiling from the idea of death, he was recoiling from the weight of what Tristan had become, someone who loves so fiercely that he must destroy to remember. Zwick later said it was the hardest scene to shoot because it walked a line between devotion and insanity. The camera lingers just long enough for us to see it. This is no longer a soldier mourning his brother. This is a man reborn as something wild. Remember that frozen trench? This is what it cost. Every breath of cold, every scream of loss, condensed into one act that stripped away the last piece of civilization left in him. But love and madness never stay buried. That same fire will rise again, and when it does, it won't be against enemies in war, but against his own blood. Fact number 5. The love too wild to last. Their affair unfolds across sweeping ranch lands and mountain passes filmed over 3 seasons. Toll used wide-angle lenses to place tiny human figures inside cathedral-like landscapes, showing how nature dwarfs even passion. Orman called these shoots romantic torture. Horseback rides at dawn in freezing air, then swims in glacier melt hours later. But the hardship shows on screen. Their love feels elemental. The locations themselves, Banff, Fort Macleod, and the Ghost River Valley, became visual metaphors for freedom that can't last. But that vast, untamed beauty is about to turn against them. The same land that sheltered their love will soon bear witness to its undoing. Those mythic landscapes of their beginning now cradle a love that can't survive.
Quit pee forever.
Fact number 4. When blood turned against blood. When Alfred and Tristan finally erupt, it isn't acting. It's catharsis caught on film. Behind the scenes, Aidan Quinn and Brad Pitt barely spoke between takes. Pitt had grown frustrated with studio notes softening Tristan's character, while Quinn, the trained theater actor, wanted more rehearsal and structure. Zwick decided to roll cameras before announcing action, letting their real irritation bleed into the performance. The first punch connected harder than planned, splitting Pitt's lip. Quinn froze, expecting Zwick to cut, but the director motioned for them to keep going. What you see is 2 actors abandoning choreography and channeling years of tension. Afterward, Quinn said, "That fight was every argument the Ludlows never had." This is the eruption born from Samuel's death and sealed by the heart Tristan carried home. But their private war only clears the stage for another heartbreak, one that will cost Tristan everything he's tried to rebuild. The guns haven't even cooled, and fate is already taking aim. Fact number 3. The day the final light left Tristan. Isabel II's death hits like a rifle crack, sudden, merciless, and devastating. But what happened behind the camera is even more haunting. The scene was shot on a remote Alberta road that kept icing over. To get the perfect skid, the crew coated the dirt with molasses water so the car's tires would catch and spin unpredictably. Actress Karina Lombard wasn't told exactly when the blanks would fire. Zwick wanted her genuine fear. The scream that rips out of her when the glass shatters? Completely real. After the final take, Pitt refused to leave the set until Lombard confirmed she was okay. He reportedly said, "Tristan loses her once. I'm not losing her twice." Symbolically, Zwick placed this death at sunset, the exact opposite lighting of Susanna's sunrise arrival. One framed the beginning of love, this one frames its extinction. Remember that glowing dawn of destiny? Now it's the dying light of consequence. And Tristan's grief won't fade quietly. The next scene turns that loss into the most unglamorous act of vengeance in any Western. Fact number 2. The day Tristan unleashed the wild. The revenge shootout is stripped bare. No slow motion, no score, only wind and rifle cracks echoing across the plains. Sound designer Wiley Stateman layered recordings of real long-distance gunfire to make each shot feel lonely. Pitt fires single-action rifles that kick like cannons. His wince after each trigger pull isn't acting. The aftermath is silent but for crows. Zwick said, "We wanted it to feel like nature exhaling after violence." This is the justice Isabel's death demanded, raw, cold, and final. But there's one last battle waiting, where vengeance ends and legend begins. It all circles back to that bear. Fact number 1. The day the wild took Tristan. Tristan's final fight mirrors the opening hunt. It's Bart the bear again, the same living symbol of wildness that opened the story, returning to finish it. Filmed with telephoto lenses for safety, the sequence was choreographed like a dance. Pitt and Bart were never closer than 15 feet, yet their movements sync perfectly. man and beast locked in rhythm. That's the secret we promised. Bart wasn't cast for spectacle, he was cast because only something that wild could give Tristan a death worthy of myth. No CGI, no manipulation, just two legends meeting on equal ground. From frozen trenches to Samuel's heart, from the brothers' war to vengeance, every path leads here. Man and nature, love and loss. Legend complete. Legends of the Fall gave us one of cinema's most mythic endings. But if you're craving more epic storytelling where man and wilderness collide, you need to watch Dances with Wolves. It's the same sweeping landscapes, the same clash of worlds, and another unforgettable journey into the American frontier. Trust me, if this story moved you, that one will too. Go watch it now.